Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking you a
categorically,
question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can
No,
you
I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com with extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra analysis, archives to all of our shows. The Freedom Light is always on for you 24/7. We have a tremendous amount of free public information there. And we also have our subscription content at 30 cents a day, where I go into information that I glean from my sources I've developed over the past 35 years from behind the curtain that I cannot speak about on social media platforms. So you can imagine what would happen, right? Channel's gone. They're already suppressed. They're almost gone. But I can't even talk about it on the radio. Why? Because there are these deep state cultist choke point individuals that are in every agency in our government, in every business, and they're there to censor content so that you don't get the most up-to-date information so you can make appropriate decisions to protect yourself and your family and your future. It's that simple. So there are choke point people that are present within the FCC, which is why I can only go so far on the radio. Because if I went where I go on the subscription side of our platform at davejanda.com, they would shut Wham Talk 1600 down in hours. So I push the envelope on the radio. I try to push the envelope on the social media platforms, but where the real meat of the matter is, 30 cents a day, is on the subscription side of the platform. Many people have said over the years, it feels like we're living in a movie. This doesn't seem like reality. Well, I agree. I think we are living in a movie. And that's not being conspiratorial or just look around. Just look around what's happened past 10 years. So the question is, what movie? I mean, we can take slices from a number of different movies, whether it's Wag the Dog, right? You know, the movie in 1997 about the occurs right before an election and a war is initiated and pushed, advanced to cover for a presidential scandal. Well, it seems reasonable based on everything that we see going on with Ukraine and the like. But actually, there's another movie, one of my favorite movies. And I know people say, well, you like the movie because of its name. What's its name? Dave is the movie from 1993. Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver, Charles Grodin. It's really an excellent movie. Funny, but truthful. You know, we see this time and time again, whether it's with The Simpsons or whatever it might be. They tend to prepare the battlefield. Remember, the media is run by the Globalist Cult. And what they tend to do is they tend to put information in movies and in TV shows that is, in fact, what's really occurring behind the curtain. And they're preparing the battlefield to, in a way, desensitize the public for as their agenda rolls out. Now, in the movie Dave, which hit the box office, I believe, in 1993, in the movie Dave, there is a president, a corrupt president. Sound familiar? Well, right? That was involved in some very shady financial deals. Sound familiar? And surrounding this shady president is a bunch of shady figures that were also involved in the same shady deals and other shady deals and were power-hungry monsters. Well, they were running their operation, and they had tremendous cover in running their fraudulent operations from other government agencies. Sound familiar? Well, then, one day, this shady, corrupt president has a significant medical event where he becomes physically and mentally incapacitated. Familiar? Now, in the movie, they bring in a guy, who's played by Kevin Kline, who looks just like the debilitated president. But this guy, he's honest. He runs an employment business out in the Midwest somewhere. I think it was Iowa, something like that. And he runs, and they bring him in and they say, look, now these are the corrupt people around the president, who is also corrupt, but debilitated at this point. They say, look, we need your help here. You look a lot like this guy. You sound a lot like him. We need you to fill in for him until we don't want to cause a national catastrophe. So for the good of the country, we need you to kind of fill in, and we'll tell you what to say and how to say it. So this guy goes along with it. In the number 2 spot, this is where the movie's a little different than reality, but today, the number 2 spot is a really honest person. Not like what we got with Harris. But the power brokers around the current president say, look, we got to do something to move the number 2 out. Because, plan A is we move the number 2 out and we put one of us in the number 2 spot. And then we announce that the president had a medical problem and move him out, and I, or them, whoever the corrupt thing, we move up. Now appoint one of you to be my number 2. The other option is this thing falls apart, and the president's outlined that the president is sick, and the president is ill, and the president is dying, and the president is not good, and then we have to move this honest person in its number 2. But we're going to create some type of controversy about him, criminality, and move him out so that. But we're going to be in the number 2 spot, and because we're going to have him do that, and then we're going to move up. Well, this seems very familiar, what's going on now, doesn't it? With the exception of the person number 2 right now is not honest, not ethical. So the question is, what happens in the movie is that this guy who's taken the place of the president who's debilitated realizes what's going on and decides, hey, why don't I start doing some stuff that's good for the country? That would be a welcome change, wouldn't it? I think the only way we get to that point where we get somebody in the number 1 spot and the number 2 spot that's honest and ethical and does the right thing for the country. The only way we get there is with an election process in 2024, in this coming year, that is fair and free. Now, right now, that seems like a tough go. And when I survey the landscape of all those that are running for office, there are several people that have distinguished themselves as at least speaking about doing what's right for people. There are many people that are running for the presidency who I believe are, as in the movie, those who seek power who are corrupt and are part of this cult. I believe in 2020 we had a installation as opposed to a free and fair election. I believe that's, at a minimum, if you look at the whole Hunter Biden laptop issue, how that was suppressed. How between 17 and 40% of those who voted for the current resident, no P, resident of the White House, said they wouldn't have voted for that person if they thought that that laptop story was true. And if you talk to the people in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, they'll tell you, well, there was this letter with these 50 intelligence officials that said it was that laptop was bogus, but that's been shown to be a fraud. Here we go back to the movie. Intelligence agency actively involved in criminal activity. So our country hinges, every country hinges on free and fair elections. Unfortunately, over many years' time, our country and agencies associated with our country have disrupted elections around the world. And they did the same in 2020. I believe they tried to do the same in 2016. And they've done the same for many years before that. Free and fair elections. Holding people accountable. Restitution of the rule of law. I recently had General Paul Vallely on my radio show. And Paul has started a fantastic organization, StandUpAmericaUS.org. Don't forget the US. StandUpAmericaUS.org. And he has an essay on that website called Where Has Our America Gone? And as part of that essay, he speaks about solutions. And I want to share them with you because this is a huge hit on our radio show amongst the listening audience. And I want to expose you to it as well. Here's what General Vallely says. Americans, we must stand tall and reverse this dismantling of our country. In other words, we have to stop the movie, Dave. Challenge this tyranny at every opportunity, peacefully, We must protect our children for a brighter future in America. Well, what are the solutions? Here's what he proposes. Select Americans to be president, vice president, and governor who are genuine, experienced leaders. We must ensure fair and valid elections. That's the critical point, I believe. We must vote for citizens that are not career politicians or members of partisan political parties. A term limit is a must, as well as for the Supreme Court. We must revise our education system to teach a well-rounded English, history, science, and mathematics education. The arts, music, and sports are also included in developing a well-rounded student. We must restore our military, rebuild durable, independent energy to support America's future, revise the structure of the CIA, FBI, DHS, Department of Justice, and other government agencies, limit the power and authority of all government officials, downsize the federal and state governments, eliminate the Federal Reserve and place its functions back in the Department of Treasury where it belongs, fix the justice system. We cannot continue to allow criminals to commit crimes and not be punished, like in the movie Dave. No one is above the law, including elected officials. We must spiritually awaken our people where honesty, integrity, truth, faith, and respect prevail. Governors must exercise their 10th Amendment rights for state rights. Our borders must be protected against illegal invasions. More could be added to solutions, but what has been stated would only be the beginning of restoring America. General Paul Vallely, StandUpAmericaUS.org. So what do we do? Well, I suggest you find a copy of the movie Dave. It's on Netflix. It's on a number of different entities you can get. Dave. Easy title. Watch it. Because, as I said, the cult that controls Hollywood and the media tend to give us morsels of what's coming. And we need to pay heed to that. I think they did that with the movie Dave. They were telling us something. 2, time's short. Time is short. We need to ensure free and fair elections. There are some who will tell you it cannot be done. I disagree. It can be done. Because I don't believe our constitutional republic can withstand another election that is nothing more than an installation. Fact. Every local, state, and federal person that hosts public office, you need to contact and say, look, we're wise to your game. No more installations. We know there are a multitude of problems in this election process. Tell me how you're going to fix it, because if you don't have a plan, we're going to find somebody to run against you in the next primary to move you out that does have a plan to ensure free and fair elections. I can tell you, folks, many people believe that when you contact these offices and these people, that it doesn't register, they don't care. No, they do care about themselves and their own future. Maybe not yours, but their own. And they know that only so many lobbyist dollars can be used, that only so many results can be tainted only to a certain point. And that if the mass public is aware and is following through, that's what they get afraid of, because they want you just sitting on the couch and being afraid. that if you're active and aware and educating others, they'll move off a dead center. The future is in your hands, in every person you know's hands. What the globalist cult is counting on is that you're going to sit on the couch, you're going to stay mute. One of the things you see in the movie, Dave, is that when ordinary people, you and me, step up and do the right thing and push for freedom and liberty, that's what happens with Kevin Kline and Dave. That great things happen. That criminality gets pushed to the side. They were showing you in that movie, Dave, how to beat the cult. But the cult believes, and I can understand why, based on the past 3 years, that people would rather just sit on their couch and be fearful and be paralyzed. That's what they're counting on. It's up to you. I hope you get off the couch. I hope you network this information to anyone and everyone you know and love. Maybe people you don't even know. Try to get them off a dead center. Because the truth of the matter is, the more people that are educated with what's going on, the more people that become empowered. And the more people that become empowered, the sooner we end this reign of terror by the globalist cult. Watch that movie, Dave. Go to standupamericaus.org. Take a look at General Valley's presentation. Share it with others. Go to davejanda.com. Take advantage of all the free content we have there. And then become a member of our Freedom family. Subscribe to our premium service content and email service. Because it will put you months, if not years, if not decades ahead of the curve. So that you can protect yourself. Because that's what we do. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, Dave Jana signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.